Hey everyone, welcome back to MGS Stories. My name is Sunny Rahaman, and here on this channel we explore deep, thought-provoking motivational stories and sometimes a dash of horror. Today's story is one I'm really excited to share with you. It's called The Time Traveler's Dilemma. It's a powerful story about how small changes in our past can shape our future in unexpected ways. If you're new here, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to support the channel. Every bit of love you show helps motivate me to bring you more incredible stories. So sit back, relax, and let's dive in. David Harper was, by all accounts, a man who had it all figured out. He worked as a software engineer in a well-paying job, had a close group of friends, and shared his life with Sarah, the love of his life. They had been together for 3 years, and though their relationship wasn't perfect, it was built on trust, mutual respect, and, above all, love. But David wasn't just someone who accepted things as they were. He always felt that life, much like the code he wrote every day, could be optimized, improved, tweaked, made better. So when he stumbled across a pocket watch in his late grandfather's attic, his curiosity took over. The watch was old, intricate, and unlike anything he had ever seen. It had a strange glow to it, one that seemed to draw him in. David wound the watch just to see if it would still work. But when the second hand ticked, something bizarre happened. The room around him spun, and in the blink of an eye, he wasn't in the attic anymore. He was back in his childhood home, standing in his old bedroom. The posters, the toys, the familiar smell of his mom's cooking from downstairs, it was all exactly as it had been when he was 10 years old. At first, David thought he had lost his mind. He rushed downstairs, and there were his parents, younger and full of energy. He pinched himself, but this was no dream. He had traveled back in time. Excitement and disbelief filled him as he realized what this meant. He could go back and fix everything. The arguments, the missed opportunities, the regrets that had haunted him. After spending a few hours in his childhood, he twisted the pocket watch again, and with a dizzying blur, he was back in the present. That night, David could hardly sleep. His mind was racing with the possibilities of what he could change. There were so many moments he wanted to fix. The next day, he tested the watch again, traveling back to his high school years, to the day he had argued with his best friend, Tom. In that argument, harsh words were exchanged, and their friendship had never quite recovered. Now, David had the chance to stop it. He made a small change, calmly explaining his side instead of lashing out in anger. When he returned to the present, he felt victorious. His phone buzzed, and to his surprise, there was a text from Tom asking him to grab a beer that weekend. The friendship, it seemed, had been restored. David felt a rush of adrenaline. If this little tweak had worked, what else could he fix? But what David didn't notice at first were the subtler changes happening around him. His girlfriend, Sarah, seemed a bit different when he returned. She smiled, but it didn't quite reach her eyes. She asked about his day, but her attention seemed to drift. It was almost as if the bond they once had was looser, but David brushed it off. He was too focused on what he could fix next. He thought about the job interview he had messed up a few years ago. It was his dream job, but nerves had gotten the better of him, and he had fumbled through it. So David went back. This time, armed with confidence, he aced the interview, impressing the hiring manager. Back in the present, he got an email offering him the job. Everything was working out just as he had hoped, but when he came home to tell Sarah, she didn't seem excited. In fact, she seemed distant. David couldn't understand it. He was fixing everything, right? He was making their lives better. That night, Sarah sat him down and told him something that hit him harder than anything before. David, I don't feel like I know you anymore. I feel like we're drifting apart. David was stunned. How could they be drifting apart when he was doing everything to make their lives perfect? But the more he thought about it, the more he realized something. Every time he went back to change something in his life, he wasn't just changing his circumstances, he was changing himself. And the man Sarah had fallen in love with wasn't the same man who sat in front of her now. David panicked. He couldn't lose her. He decided to go back once more, back to when they first met. Maybe if he could make that moment even better, it would strengthen their bond again. He traveled back to the night of their first date. It had been perfect as it was. But David, in his quest for perfection, made a few small changes. He picked a different restaurant, said different things. When he returned to the present, things were worse. Sarah wasn't just distant, she was gone. Her side of the closet was empty, her things packed up. She had left him. David's heart sank. In trying to make things perfect, he had lost the most important person in his life. It was then that he realized that life, like love, isn't about perfection. It's about the journey. The ups, the downs, the mistakes, and the lessons learned. By trying to rewrite his past, he had lost touch with the present. For the first time since he found the watch, David didn't want to change anything anymore. He just wanted to live in the moment. He wanted to embrace the imperfections, the challenges, the struggles, because those were the things that made life worth living. David made a decision. He took the pocket watch, walked down to the riverbank near his home, and threw it as far as he could into the rushing water. It was over. No more time travel, no more changes. In the weeks that followed, David worked hard to repair his life. He reached out to Sarah, admitting his mistakes and asking for another chance. It wasn't easy and it wasn't quick, but slowly they rebuilt their relationship, not on perfection, but on trust, understanding, and acceptance. In the end, David learned that the real magic of life isn't in changing the past. It's in accepting the present with all its flaws and building something meaningful out of it. And that, my friends, is the story of the time traveler's dilemma. Sometimes we get so caught up in trying to make everything perfect that we forget the beauty of the present, flaws and all. I hope this story inspires you to embrace life as it is and focus on the things that truly matter. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to MGS Stories for more thought-provoking and motivational stories just like this one. Your support keeps me going, and I can't wait to bring you more. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.